Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be taking this and turning it into this using the power of retopology. Retopology, for those who don't know, is the process of optimizing and refining our character's high poly sculpt and turning it into a usable mesh for us to rig and animate with. As a heads up, I'm using an add-on called Retopo Flow 4 to speed up my workflow, but don't worry, everything I do in this tutorial can be done in stock Blender without enabling a single add-on. To start, spawn a plane and in edit mode, position it around the head area. Then add a mirror modifier and a shrink wrap modifier in that order. Set the shrink wrap's wrap method to target normal project and the snap mode to above surface. Set the target to your sculpt. This should snap the plane to the sculpt. Next, click on the Mesh Edit Overlays button and turn on the Retopology setting. This makes your selected object semi-transparent and overlays it on top of your mesh regardless of if it's clipping or not. And now we can start retopologizing. Select one of the edges and then start repositioning and extruding to map out the core facial loops. If you're having trouble figuring out where the loops go, think of the face like a pond, and anywhere there's a hole, like a mouth or eye socket, or two separate parts connect, like the ears, are pebbles dropped into the pond, and the facial loops are the pebbles rippling out. Anywhere the two ripples meet in the middle, put down a loop. For example, the mouth and eye socket converge right along the cheek, so I put a loop down there. You're going to want to get these in place first as opposed to just extruding small planes that wrap around the face. This way, you can lay out the foundation for how the facial features will deform as well as the outline of the contours of the face. If you're just starting out or just need a refresher on what good facial topology is, be sure to use references. I use this image as my reference, but really any face that looks like this will work as a good reference. The core loops of the face will remain the same regardless of art style. If the face is deforming at all, you need to lay down these loops. Something to note is that you shouldn't follow these to a T. Just because this ref has 16 edges in the eye sockets doesn't mean your character should as well. Do what fits the best. When working with a higher poly count, the amount of verts a loop has doesn't really have a standardized amount. Like, look at Spring's model. Her dress's sleeve has a circumference of 28 verts, while her sweater only has 16 and her arm has 18. The only similarities between the vert counts are that they're all double-digit even numbers. Remember, focus on the way the faces flow into each other rather than how many faces there are. While you're doing this, keep in mind the poles of the mesh. A pole is just 3 or more faces connected by one vert. You're going to want to minimize the amount of 5-pointed poles as much as possible and avoid 6-sided ones as much as you can. There are some very rare edge cases where you need to have a 6-pointer, and if you find yourself in that situation, move it to a static area, meaning a part of the mesh that won't deform much, if at all. You're going to want to keep things fairly low poly during this stage. The less points we have to potentially tweak, the better. You can always go back and add more geometry if you need to. I like to be very frugal with my poly counts. In fact, I think I may overdo it at times. Just be sure to get the foundations down, then you can go back in detail later if you need to. Once you have your core facial loops in place, add in the eyes, nose, and mouth as a ring of verts, and once they're in place, connect them to the main loops. Anywhere a face connects to the core loops, I add a loop cut with Ctrl-R and bridge them together. The eyes are nothing special, just line them up with your reference. Again, it does not need to be perfect. Like, I have a habit of putting the eyes too far back in the head on the profile view, so do what looks good to you. It's the same deal for the mouth. Something important to note is that the upper lip and the bottom lip should have the same amount of verts. Like if the bottom lip has 5 verts, the top lip should have 5 verts. Before I move to the ears, I'm just cleaning up and finishing the rest of the head. It's a good idea to finish working on one part before moving to another. It's a lot of filling in gaps and adding in loops where there need to be. This is actually where Retopo can be almost therapeutic, because once you have the core foundations in place, it's a lot of repetitive steps. You can really do this on autopilot for the most part. Something very important to keep track of is how even the faces are spread out. If the spacing looks wonky, change to sculpt mode and use the slide relax brush or the smooth brush with the deformation set to surface. Just be careful not to overdo it, because it has a habit of making things look too smooth and moving certain verts where you don't want them. Once you're satisfied with the head, we can start tackling the ears. Create a loop of verts where the ears meet the head, and then add a new plane, either with Shift A or duplicating a pre-existing one, and start following your ear sculpt with the plane. You need to take into account the way the ear flows if you have a more human-looking ear. There aren't really a lot of tricks to this, just follow along the shape of the ear, relaxing faces when you need to. Relaxing the faces near the edge of the ear won't really work, so this is where we're going to have to do things manually. All that's left to do from here is to relax the faces to be even as I possibly can and fix any weird looking geometry that might have popped up. And that about covers it. The next video will be on retopologizing the rest of her and filling out the face to get things ready for rigging and animation. If you want to see how to get to this point, the rest of the series is in the description. Do all the YouTube things, it helps this video out a lot. If you want to help turn this into my full-time career, join the channel membership, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!